welcome on board. This is Anisha here. Today we are going to be doing a CMAT slot 1 versus slot 2 comparison, as well as look at the score versus percentile for the last 3 to 4 years, how it has been, and which are the colleges that you can look at from CMAT. Okay, quickly on the chat, please drop in your comment section if I am audible, I'm live for all of you guys, so that we can start getting into the CMAT analysis. So quickly, the exam was done in 2 slots today. Slot 1 was 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Slot 2 was 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. today. And the best part is that both the slots, like we covered it up, more or less, they were similar, but difficulty-wise, last year ke comparison mein, almost the same, at par it was. Some students did find it, yes, easier in the slot 1, and slot 2 was a little tougher. Ye normalization mein cover up ho jayega. And yes, honestly, if you ask me, slot 2 was a little tougher as compared to the slot 1. Okay? So keep that in mind. And quickly on the chat, if all of you guys are connected, drop in the comment section which slot did you attempt and how many questions did you attempt in your slot. Easy, medium, difficult, keep writing that on the chat as well. That would be really helpful for me to also get an idea about how was the exam overall. Detailed score, percentile, and more clarity about the 2 slots we will get to know once the answer key and the response sheet is out. So stay tuned to the channel for the same updates coming up soon as well. Okay, now let's look at the overall analysis. Overall, keeping both the slots in mind, out of the 20 questions in each of the sections, totally, like we had 100 questions. Okay, in this 70 to 75 definitely were good attempts. Almost all the students were able to attempt. Some of the good students in the slot 1 I know were able to do 90 plus attempts. Slot 2 mein 80 to 85 attempts were there for all the top score getters from the mocks perspective right now. Okay, now with respect to your maximum, good attempts, talking about that from each of these slots cumulatively, I would say in quants and DI section, 16 to 17 questions was doable. Okay, and if we look at the logical reasoning question section, 15 to 16 questions were doable. Same goes for the verbal section. GK mein 11 to 12 questions doable, and same goes for innovation and entrepreneurship. Definitely, if someone who had studied, especially innovation and entrepreneurship, you had studied more through your CMAT Maximizer books, you would have been definitely able to attempt more number of questions. That was the feedback I got in from quite a few students today in the slot 1, which was there, right? Now, moving further ahead, looking at the slot 1 versus 2, deep diving into the quants section, right? So quants section may, if I look at it, definitely arithmetic was dominating the entire, both the slots, slot 1 and slot 2, both of them. Slot 1 had nearly around 10 questions coming from arithmetic. इसमें time, speed, distance के questions ज़्यादा थे. If you guys remember, we discussed in the slot 1 analysis also कि we had questions based on the leopard and tiger, how they are traveling. If a leopard takes 3 steps, tiger takes 5 steps. So the questions based on that. That was interesting, tricky, I would say on the medium side. Rest of the arithmetic ke easier questions the, simple and compound interest ke, mixtures and allegations, ratios, profit and loss. Slot 1 mein, these were surely much easy to do. Slot 2 mein, the difficult questions itne nahi the. Arithmetic was still easier. You had questions based on ratios, profit and loss, simple and compound interest, mixtures ke 2 questions the. And I think overall arithmetic this time was seeing more questions coming in from the basic core subjects of your averages, ratios, percentages, and my mixtures, because mixtures is nothing but application of your ratios and percentages concepts only, right? Geometry ka ek question tha in slot 1, there was perimeter based question, ek hi question tha. Slot 2 mein geometry ke questions zyada the. There were 3 questions of it. 2 easy to do. 1 was like a little moderate. These were based on your area and perimeter questions. Again, drop in the comments if you guys, have remembered other questions, and if you think ki थोड़े से कम ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस आए थे तो कमेंट में लिखते जाओ कि how many were there, and overall how many questions did you attempt in quant section. Slot 1 हमने attempted, slot 2 हमने attempted, ऐसा लिखो, so that let's figure out that what was the actually a good attempt in the slot 1 and slot 2 of CMAT exam. Okay, moving to the next, we had modern maths. Modern maths में सीधा directly probability based questions थे. 2 questions came in slot 1, probability, which was based on, people sitting, and 20 people were sitting, and in between them, if A and B are sitting, 4 people. So interesting question of probability, doable tha. Slot 2 had 3 questions coming in from modern maths, 2 based on probability, 1 based on your sequence and series. Out of this, 2 were medium, 1 was easier. Numbers, 2 questions in slot 1. Slot 2 had 3 questions of numbers. Again, this was moderate. Overall, if I see based on the number of questions, also difficulty wise, quants and DI section of slot 2 was definitely on the tougher side as compared to slot 1. Tougher may, I would not say totally difficulty level of questions only, but they were more time consuming. There were students who ended up spending an hour finishing up 20 questions of quants and DI. I would not recommend you to spend that hour, but agar sub questions correct hai, accuracy अच्छी है, to make sense. Like for students जिसने पढ़ाई नहीं करी है for GK and innovation and entrepreneurship, the other 3 subjects can be, your score maximizers, right? Algebra के ज्यादा questions नहीं थे. Slot 1 में 2 questions थे. Slot 2 में तो एक भी question नहीं था from algebra. Data interpretation, 3 questions in both of them. Slot 1 was based on your graph-based question. Slot 2 was percentage-based questions, like where, you had your questions given. Sorry, slot 1 had the pie chart where you had 5 specializations, placements, and you had 2 pie charts, and percentage of placed students was shared. Second slot में graph based question था, जिसमें stores selling multigrain wheat and wheat bread, multigrains bread, उसके ऊपर questions था. DI was easy to solve and understand. It was just calculation intensive. तो सिर्फ time consuming था, but everybody should have attempted all the 3 questions of DI in both the slots for sure, right? Drop in the comment section, how was your slot 1 versus 2 for your quants? I can see a lot of students writing in ki 13 questions attempt kiye, 19 questions attempted in your slot 1, slot 2 of your quants. Lovely. Okay, so essentially, I think 16 to 17 पक्का सब करके आ सकते थे. More or less, अगर नहीं हो पा रहा था, तो 14 questions तो at least all the students were able to do in both the slots. Okay, that is with respect to my quants section. Now, coming on to the logical reasoning section. LR section में, I think I will increase the screen to be much more visible for all of you guys. If you guys have any queries, you all can please drop it in the chat as well also, right? Yes, now moving on to the next one, logical reasoning section. This section was not difficult, but logical reasoning definitely was a little more time consuming, especially with, the kind of critical reasoning and assertion based questions. If I look at slot 1 and slot 2 ka comparison, I think both of them in terms of difficulty level and time consuming were on the same lines. Though critical reasoning was more prominent in my slot 2, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो difficult हो गया उसकी वजह से, right? So if I look at the number of questions, critical reasoning questions were your assumption based questions, right? So assumption wale questions, 4 questions were there in slot 1. Slot 2, we had 8 questions of critical reasoning. These were questions based on assumption, assertion and reasoning, and also your strengthening, weakening argument wale questions. Plus, there was a more visibility, or you could say evidently analogy based questions जो थे slot 2 में ज़्यादा थे. Slot 2 में there were 3 questions analogy based. Slot 1 में एक ही question था. One thing which was common in both the slots were having questions based on your clocks and question based on your cubes. Direction sense, again, yes, you can see direction sense was prominent in both of them. Easy to do question, 1 question of this. Cubes के slot 1 में 2 question थे. Slot 2 में एक question था, which was about cube has been painted and cut. So, multiple उसके basis पे था. Next, counting the number of squares in an image. So this was figure-based reasoning. इसमें you had to count the number of squares. In the slot 2, it was not counting the squares. It was a figure which was given of circle and, numbers mentioned in it. And you had to find the missing number. Figure based भी एक question था which was also about counting the number of triangles. ठीक है? Family tree questions were there in both of them, that is your blood relations. Arrangement based, there was one question on a linear arrangement in slot number 1, and slot number 2 had a circular arrangement based question. Coding decoding was not there in slot 1, but it was there in slot 2. We had one question coming in from there. Clocks was present in both the sets. Set theory question again was there in both of them. Analogy based questions दोनों जगह पर थे. Alpha numeric questions is वहां पे basically एक pattern था, and उस pattern में आपको next missing number find करना था. That is your alphanumeric questions. Overall, if we look at, my logical reasoning section also, pretty much doable. But if you had definitely taken mock test, तो थोड़ा ज़्यादा attempt कर पाते आप लोग. Like I said, 15 to 16 questions was surely something which everybody should have been able to do it. But students who have been giving a lot of mock tests were actually able to attempt around 18 to 19 questions in this. ठीक है? Drop in the comments section आपको कितनी questions आपने attempt किए हैं in the logical reasoning section. ठीक है? Great. Now, coming to our verbal section. Verbal section mein one thing was different is our lengthy RC passages, where we have a central idea of the passage, inference-based questions, what is the author thinking, ye kuch nahi tha CMAT mein. There were only squat RCs, which you could say, squat RCs, matlab if you have attended your verbal sessions or you've seen your dashboard, you would know chote RCs, like short passage and a question based on that. So in the first passage, we had about, the Shivaji ka capturing fort, uska chota sa passage tha and 2 questions based on that. Second wale mein, we had somewhere around 5 questions based on the short squat RC passages. Short, matlab they are very short, like, 50 to 100 words ke beech mein. You had a lot of more verbal ability based questions in both the slots. So slot 1 had 18 questions, slot 2 had around 15 questions. You can drop in the comment sections, the vocabulary words that you saw, because that's something we can also discuss. Jo slot 1 tha, if you guys remember, where we discussed in the morning as well also, we had a passage which had your close test passage, basically, where you had 3 blanks. That was somewhere easy to, maximize your scores. Synonym antonyms ke questions the which were in the form of match the columns. If you've done vocabulary, wo bhi doable tha. 5 questions were there on the type of nouns, which is abstract noun, collective noun, personal noun. All 5 of them, I would say, were, if your reading practice is good, sentence construction say, you should have been able to identify them. Then we had questions based on your identify the correct grammatical sentence, doable or like moderate. Parajumbles, again, moderate. So this is essentially the different type of questions which we had. एक बहुत ही interesting question था in slot 1, which was about what the narrative, like, is the passage in first person, second person, or third person narrative. So that was a little different type of question, but agar aap अच्छे से पढ़ते तो वो easy था, you could get that answer, right? That is from the verbal slot 1 questions. Slot 2 ka verbal, here with those squat RCs, you had, synonyms, antonyms in again match the following format. इसमें यहाँ पे assertion reasoning के question verbal section में भी थे. Idioms and phrases में से you had to find the opposite meaning. Then, like there, we in slot 1, we had type of noun. Here we had type of pronoun based questions. Then we had our general identify the correct grammatical sentence, 5 questions, I think, which was there on that. There was active and passive voice ka question. So pretty much overall, if I say to maximize your scores in the entire paper, verbal and logical reasoning, these 2 sections would have been the sections to maximize your attempts and maximize your overall score eventually if you have done it well. Okay? Are you guys with me? Come on, everybody, just hit on the like button as well so that... Okay, yes, I can say first person. Yes, the answer was first person in the narrative wala question. Okay, next was our GK and innovation and entrepreneurship section. हियर जिसने अच्छे से मेहनत से पढ़ाई करी है उनके नंबर अच्छे आएंगे, बिकॉज यहाँ पे थोड़ा गेस वर्क और analytical logical thinking may not work always. In GK we had a lot of static GK questions in your first slot. In fact, all the questions were on static GK based on India ke current affairs, which is happening, like, the election commissioner and post office. So easier to do questions if you've read about your history and the geography and economics basic concepts. Slot 2 ka GK had 15 questions of static GK, 5 were based on current affairs. In fact, your current affair question was based on even Manmohan Singh, who recently passed away. So his economic reforms pay, there were questions. More or less 7 to 8 questions for sure. Even the students who found GK tough were able to attempt. The others who are well read, 11 to 12 questions were doable. Now coming to what was innovation and entrepreneurship, this I would say overall the difficulty level was medium. But one thing which was there were no RC based questions here also. Like पहले आते थे क्वेश्चंस की एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पे पैसेज है एंड यू आर आस्क्ड क्वेश्चंस ऑन दैट, स्टार्टअप पे पैसेज है, क्वेश्चंस ऑन दैट, थोड़े बहुत जीके बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस भी आ जाते थे. दिस ईयर दैट वाज नॉट देयर वाज ओनली वन जीके बेस्ड क्वेश्चन इन द स्लॉट 1. रेस्ट एवरीथिंग वाज बेस्ड ऑन static or factual conceptual knowledge of innovation and entrepreneurship. So like one of the students mentioned to me in the morning ki jisne ma'am wo 153 pages ki book padhi hogi uski life sorted hogi. So if you guys had studied and read the 153 pages innovation and entrepreneurship CMAT Maximizer book, I think it would have been helpful. You guys can drop in the comments also, was the CMAT Maximizer book helpful for all of you guys, yes or no? But otherwise, concept questions, they had asked definitions of venture capitalist, entrepreneurship. Then there were different business terms arranged in the match the following columns ke format mein. There were terms of business explained, and there were questions based on assertion and reason format again in this section as well. Right? Some of the kind of questions which were there, if I was there, the easy questions, GK jo the, where is Wankhede Stadium located? Then where will the 2028 Olympics be held? Who authored the famous book of Akbarnama? Who was the first chief of defense staff in India? Then analogy ki kafi questions bhi the, which were doable. So you guys can drop in the comment section the questions that you remember and the answers. We will also look into that as well. Baki pura answer ki to aa jayega once your response sheet is out. Okay, now quickly looking at score versus percentile. So firstly, percentile के बजाय अभी आपका NTA score भी आ जाता है. So make sure that you remember in your scorecard, it will show you NTA score and not your percentile. ठीक है? Last few years, if we see, 340 to 380 has been the range in which students have been getting the top 99.9 percentile. 99.9 last year was at 340. 99.9 was at 321. 99.5 at 305, 99 percentile at 269, 98 percentile at 200, 95 at 265, 90 percentile at 245, 85 at around 168, 80 at around 139, right? So this is something which you have to keep in mind and check ki aapko score versus percentile ka information. This will be there helpful for your overall colleges to look at and apply. Okay, rest, stay tuned. We will cover up the response sheet aa jayega, tab your score and percentile details at length. But make sure that you also apply to colleges which are open if you have not yet applied. Some of the colleges, which is your IIMs, Signim, Pumba, these are going to happen through the DTE cap round process, which will be done after CET exam is completed. So there you will have to submit your CET or CMAT, whichever is the best, that will be considered. The cap round process of DTE, Maharashtra wala, we will do a separate video to explain you guys in depth about the same. But definitely you can expect JBIMS at a 99.9 percentile. Same goes for Signim, Pumba, the cutoffs will be pretty high. Other colleges which you can look at. So you have KJ Somaya in Mumbai, which also accepts your CMAT scores. The applications are closed for this, but you have your programs of sports management. If you're someone who's passionate about sports, they've got an amazing campus and infrastructure with sports facilities, their swimming pool and the athletic racetrack. So if you're there, CMAT basis pay, you can still apply to the sports management program. Overall, the fees has been 20.87 lakhs. Highest package was 28.5 lakhs. Then you have Wellinger, which has got two campuses, Mumbai and Bangalore. The fees is 14 lakhs. Highest package was 40 and average was 17.63. This is for the Mumbai campus. The phase 1 applications have recently shut down, but I'm sure the phase 2 will open up soon. So stay tuned to the website of the college. Try and reach out to them. They will reopen the apps and then you can apply in. If you had already applied in the phase 1, your CMAT ID, तो आपका profile based shortlist आ सकता है, and you can further ahead look at the interviews to shortlist to come out soon, and you later on update your CMAT results. For those who are still deciding about joining in, check out the website, go and talk to students. You will get to know more, because here you have a lot of options available in hand. There's not just one program. You have multiple specialized programs as well, like there is e-business, business design, rural management, healthcare management, business analytics, which is doing really well these days, RBA, which is like, in demand. Then there is media and entertainment. If you are someone who's very passionate about working in the media industry and, working with the Bollywoods or different production houses, media agencies, you can look at that as well. Same ways, you have Bangalore campus also, which has got specializations like business design, e-business, and analytics. So you can choose your location and your specializations. CMAT, somewhere around 85 percentile plus could be a good safe score for Mumbai core program and 80 for the non-core programs. Bangalore may 80 percentile for the core program, and the non-core, which is the non-PGDM ones like analytics, e-business, somewhere around 75 plus should be good. Okay. Then we've got NIBM in Pune. This is doing really well. I mean, this is a college run by RBI folks, and they have an amazing industry and exposure to the banking industry. So whether you want to get into fintech or you want to get into product management side of HDFC banks or Standard Chartered, work with Central Bank of India or RBI, take up live projects with the faculties, this is the place to be from the finance and banking space perspective. Fees is 16 lakhs. Average placements were 14.23. Highest was 26.51. And the applications are open till 20th of March, as far as I know. Here, the cutoffs will vary. So the threshold, if you see, is where you can apply around 85 percentile plus is safe to apply. Cutoffs may vary based on number of people applying and what is the selection criteria decided back then. Last year, cutoffs went a little higher. This year, we are expecting the cutoffs to actually be a little lower, as the way it has been for most of the colleges. So 85 plus, if you are expecting in your CMAT, CAT, any of these exams, you should apply in. Then there is NIA Pune, which is Insurance Academy. Here, again, you have a lot of opportunities to work in the insurance sector. You get to choose your specializations of marketing, finance, HR as well in the second year. But in the insurance sector, which is again one of the growing sectors, Pune, very amazing campus, very senior faculties who have been there working in the industry, like working in LIC for 30 plus years, come on board and teach there as well. Here, the average package is around 12.3 and highest has been 22 lakhs. Then you have other institutes, like there is Soil Institute of Management in Gurgaon. Two programs they have, PGPM, which is a 1-year program for students who have 2+ years of experience. PGDM, which is the 2-year program where anybody, freshers and work-ex, both are eligible. The fees is somewhere around 15.3 to 15.8 based on the programs you select. Average package was 11.3 and highest was 27 lakhs per annum. Some of the seniors whom we've recently interacted with from Soil have the 1-year program, in fact, have gone ahead and got their jobs in Nestle, Volvo, McKinsey as well. So career projection, trajectory wise, it's doing pretty well. You need to make sure, but you get in the right exposure, be in the top 20% of any college that you get into. Then you've got college like IBA Bangalore. This is in Bangalore, lush green campus. I would say, you will enjoy the beauty of Bangalore as well, also with an amazing campus with lots of open areas. in fact, any guest speaker who comes in there plants a tree. So you will see hundreds of trees planted by industry experts ranging from the fintech industry to consulting to everywhere. The founders are himself from IIM Ahmedabad. The curriculum is also very well designed with having incorporation of elements like everybody has to do a capstone project, people have to do a thesis where you're doing research and study as well. Also, you have immersion programs which take you to Dubai, and exposure is also available depending on what you are choosing. The last placement stats which I have is 7.96 is the average placements. Highest was 22.26. You have good companies coming in from different spaces, like whether it is consulting or finance, all of them are coming on board. And you also get to choose specializations like digital marketing as well if you are interested in the same. Then we have ISME Bangalore. Very nice. I would say the founders, the faculties are coming from an amazing background. Like you have Nitin Sir, who's the founder, who is from IIT Bombay, IIM Lucknow, Carnegie Mellon. So this is the legacy whom you're going to study from. The career placements head is again from IIM Ahmedabad. Multiple faculties coming in from IIT Delhi, IIMs, and working in the industry. The big four, which is there, all big four companies come in for recruitment at the campus. And you also have a lot of industry in immersion programs, or you have this ITP program where you can choose live projects with the industry as well. Here the average package has been around 8 lakhs per annum. Overall highest was 14 lakhs per annum. We've got the next college, you've got IIBM in Pune. 9.05 lakhs is the fees. Average is 7.5 lakhs. Highest is 30 lakhs per annum. Best part is you got companies like Deloitte, Marico, Asian Paints, Colgate Palmolive, all coming on campus for placements. Deloitte has recently taken 27 students from here. This college is more known for its discipline and the army background, but corporate interactions is very high. They have, in fact, I had just got an invite. They had their 25th Silver Jubilee celebration today, which is really good. So it's a legacy which is there, and you should interact with alumni before you take in more decisions about any of the colleges for that matter. Then we've got ISBR Bangalore, which is located in Electronic City. 11 lakhs is the approximate fees. Average placements around 8. 16.4 lakh is the highest package, which was with Federal Bank. Good thing is here you also get to choose your specializations. Like you have the options of getting into not just marketing, finance, but something like product management, if that's what your interest area is. So you have a lot of more flexibility in choosing your specialization, and product management is taught by people who are industry experts in product management or in the product leadership roles at multiple organizations. We've got Alliance in Bangalore. Here, 15 lakhs is the fees. Highest was 38.05. 8.5 lakh was the average. You've got different cycles. Jan intake is almost kickstarting the project, the batch for the students. Next is the July batch, which you can look at. Again, good campus, a little outskirts of Bangalore, but a huge campus. It's a same campus with people from the graduate and the MBA program also study together. And like the vice chancellor, which is there, he recently interacted with him over the sessions. So you have good companies like Amazon, Google coming in, and he's been someone who's helped students get into the best of placements coming in from NIT Surathkal himself. Then you have UPS in Dehradun. Here you have highest was 30 lakhs per annum. Approximate fees is around 14. You have different programs like, oil and gas, aviation, power management, KPMG के साथ tied up, digital marketing. So that depends on what is your choice. Apart from the core PGDM programs, you can choose these. Then there is Myra in Mysore. Very upcoming college. I think the last 3-4 colleges that I've mentioned are highly upcoming, where the leadership is highly involved in bringing more and more exposure and career opportunities for the students. Like recently I heard about Myra, students had gone to Portugal for an exchange program. You have Anand Rathi coming on campus to recruit students. There are multiple guest sessions happening on like design thinking, and the alumni themselves are coming and teaching. You look at the founder, director who's there. Both of them are amazing. The founder comes in from the legacy of, automobile industry, setting up the retail franchise chain of automobile. And you have the director, who is someone from IIM Ahmedabad, worked with World Bank, Citibank in the US, and then coming out here. So imagine the kind of learnings from first hand experience you will get in the classroom as well also. Then we've got ABBS Bangalore, that's Acharya Business School in Bangalore. Highest was around 22.5 lakhs here. Average is around 8.5 lakhs. Again, great leadership, people who have studied in the UK themselves and coming on board here to bring about some, you can say, change in the way which is being done. And very interesting in the college curriculum was how dramatics is made sure that, it's taught to students, and you get a lot of exposure opportunities to understand from the industry as well, because it's again based out of Bangalore. These are some of the colleges which are still open that you can apply into, and make sure that you also start preparing for your interviews. Any other questions and everything, if you guys have, you can let me know. Some of the students were mentioning ki I don't have work experience, so what should I look at, and what should be done in the next few days. So for students who do not have work experience, basically freshers, for your interviews, prepare really well for your academics, like your 2 to 3 subjects of your graduation you should be very fluent with. And along with that, try and do some certification courses, some online or offline courses, which will help to add some additional skills, which you can tell what makes you different from the rest of the freshers who are available. So that's what you need to keep in mind. Rest, you should please take a break for 1 or 2 days, and then start with your GD and PI preparation, because once all the shortlist and calls start coming out, you have to make sure you are converting them. All the best, take care. And if you guys have any more doubts or questions which I have not taken up, please drop in the comment section. Bye-bye.